but I was offering them my love in really the only way I knew how to give it. And right when I'm flowing along nicely, there's a helicopter flying overhead and I have to start again. When you find the courage to let your kids see your humanity, you'll see you're not so different from one another, and that can be quite a revelation for a lot of parents. You personally find it easier to connect with people you know are authentic than people who project a caricature of themselves to the world, and your kids are no different. Why would they be? Imagine them coming to you for your advice instead of you having to twist their arms to get a few grunted syllables out of them. Good, fine, whatever. When you allow yourself to be more open, your relationship with them will change from being strictly about roles and responsibilities. It'll become about more than just parent, child. You'll become two human beings loving and supporting each other. But it starts with you. Sometimes it seems so damn hard. I get it. You're speaking the same language, but everything ends up being miscommunicated and misunderstood. There's days it feels like you're from two different planets. Your kids, they can't understand that you're giving them guidance and instruction because you care about them. You've been through what they've been through. That's why you're telling them what to do. But they see it as micromanaging their lives, and they keep continuously pulling away from you. But your job is to raise them and keep them safe, and that is exactly what you are going to do. They might not understand it now, but they'll get it when they're older. You want to give them just enough rope, but not too much that they hang themselves. And the most important thing you can do is prevent them from making those same mistakes that you made. All of this seems like an impossible balancing act most of the time. I personally spent a long time not being honest with myself. I was walking around living the life I thought a man was supposed to live. I was brash and arrogant, and I refused to acknowledge I felt the human emotions that every single one of us feels. Because I thought emotions made people weak. Logic was strength, and emotions were weakness, and therefore emotions were to be avoided. I didn't talk about my feelings because I didn't even really understand I had any. I gave guidance and instructions to my kids. I wasn't a jerk, not at all, but I was offering them my love in the only way I really knew how to give it. I wasn't letting myself see who I really was, so there was no way I could let my kids see behind the curtain. Those days are behind me now, and things are so much better. I've stopped lying to myself, and it's allowed me to be honest with everybody else in my life. My kids know my story, and it's brought us so much closer together. Vulnerability exposes a truth society and tradition try desperately to keep hidden. Are you ready for the big reveal? You are unique, and you were put on this earth to be you, and that's it. You have the power to replace the life you've been told to live with the life you were born to live. Can you think of anything more important to model for your children? Because I can't. If you are unique, then so are your kids. So your job is not to create a smaller version of yourself. Not at all. Your job is to help them develop into the ultimate expression of themselves. You have a responsibility to teach your kids to demand the right to create their own best lives and never settle for anything less. But you can only do that when they see you building your own, or else how would you have any credibility with them? Being vulnerable with your kids means letting them into your life. Sharing more of yourself with your kids makes it safe for them to share more of themselves with you, and they will, because they want to feel a connection. When you tell them what scares you, they'll tell you what scares them. Nobody wants to feel scared and alone. When they know you feel the same emotions they feel, they will come to you when times get tough because they will know you've been there and that you can relate without judgment. Your authenticity will become the basis for their trust. Vulnerability helps us also more easily receive feedback and see that we all have a role to play in raising each other's games. Accountability is so much more than developing a framework of rules and consequences. Do this thing by this date or this bad thing will happen. No, it's so much more than that. Accountability is living our responsibility to elevate each other as human beings. When they know they can call you out for not walking the talk, you'll be able to do the same with them. Yes, being called out by your kids is super annoying, but it brings you closer together. And it's in those moments where the real and relevant conversations will happen. We're all accountable to each other. So fight the urge to tell your kids what to do and not to do, and focus it instead on teaching the incredible power their choices have to shape their futures. Talk openly about what choices you've made and what those choices created in your life. When you give them your knowledge and wisdom as an offering instead of an instruction, they will be more open to receive it. You're exactly the same. Why would your kids be any different? Sharing your stories will show them that you've been in their shoes and help them see what you might do differently if you had another chance or what you learned along the way. Convince them not to judge themselves if a choice doesn't work out because they have the power to make another one. But if they see you constantly beating yourself up, guess what? They're going to do exactly the same thing. Your vulnerability will help teach them how to take ownership over their lives. Now, I know you're probably thinking there's no way you can let your kids know the mistakes you've made. How can you tell your kids not to do something if they know you've done the same thing? They'll feed on that hypocrisy like a great white on a rotting seal corpse. We both know it. But be open with them, and they'll be open with you. I can't stress this enough. Talk about the mistakes you made and what you learned from them. They're going to make their own choices anyways. Your job is to create the environment where they are open to receiving that all you have to offer them. It's in this space that your kids will make consistently better choices. When they make mistakes, which they obviously will, it doesn't need to drive a wedge between you because you can learn and grow together. They can teach you just as much as you can teach them. So let's recap how you can put this into practice in your life. First, start by having the courage to look at yourself in the mirror and be honest and without judgment about who you see staring back at you. The only way you can help your kids create the life they were meant to live is by creating the life you were meant to live. Second, understand the most fundamental type of accountability is our accountability to each other as human beings. Develop a foundation of shared values with them and then work together to live by them. Third, teach them about the awesome power they have to choose their future. Teach them everything you've learned. Help them see when a choice doesn't work out the way they want it, they can simply make another one. That's actually how it works. But they need you to help them understand that. You can preach at them from a pulpit, or you can lay quietly with them in bed and talk about your lives. The choice is yours. If you enjoyed this content, please consider buying my new book, The Deadly Book of Open: How Cultivating Vulnerability Makes You a Stronger, Wiser, and More Courageous Father. It's available at thebookofopen.com/book. And also please subscribe to my newsletter at thebookofopen.com/newsletter and let me show you how to create a different point of view in your life. Thank you so much. These are the perils of recording outside because it's like 101 Dalmatians out here. I wonder what they're saying. Is Cruella de Vil in the hood? I feel like responding back. Well, there's my dog speaking his piece. I wonder what makes him finally decide to stop barking. Well, oh, that was quieting down for a second. Oh, I think we might be good. Let's try this again. Dogs.